Hi, I'm Chrissy. Welcome to Chrissy Crafts. Come and see what's on my hook, what's in my hoop, and what's happening at home. So hello everyone, it's been a little while. We were away at Easter time, and then what I forget is that when you come back from a holiday, you need about a week to get settled in back from the holiday. And so finally, after being back for nearly 2 weeks, I feel like we're getting back into the routine. Anyway, we went to Norway for Easter. My husband is half Norwegian. My mother-in-law is Norwegian, and we went up there to see some family, to do some skiing. It was great fun. And we had loads of snow up in the mountains. We hadn't seen any snow in England this year, and I really miss snow because I grew up in western Pennsylvania where there's lots of proper snow. And so I love that my husband is half Norwegian, so I could get a good dose of snow every winter if I can't go back to Pennsylvania. So the girls had a great time skiing. So did my husband and I, and a nice holiday all around. I love Oslo. And now we're back. A bit of a different setup here. Normally in my craft room, the craft room is my dream, but it is actually the craft room, the computer room. So it's the homework room, my home office for when I'm doing some freelance work. And it also had the electronic keyboard in here before. Where my daughter would practice her piano after my youngest daughter went to bed, because you could put headphones on and control the volume. And then she has since staked a claim on this electronic keyboard and taken it into her bedroom because she has a piano exam this term. And so it left this space here. And so we've put her old futon bed here. So I could sit here comfortably. That's how she sold it to me. Mom, if I can have the keyboard in my room, you can have the futon for your videos. I thought, oh, all right then. So I'm a bit cozy. It's a bit lower down underneath the Yarn Love wall. But it is kind of cozy, so that's good. So, I've had quite a time. I have a big crochet flop to show you. And but some good embroidery things, and also some good crochet things as well. Oh, let me just stop rambling. Let's get on with it. What's on my hook? Okay, so when I went to Norway, I took one project. A lot of times I'll take a bunch of different projects on holiday, but I decided I just wanted to start and finish one thing. And that one thing was the parallel Bars Shawl by my friend Sarah of Annaboo's house. The only problem is I've already given it away as a gift, and so I don't have it to show you. So I will insert some photos here because I put it on Instagram, and the whole time I was making it, I had updated photos on Instagram. It was a delight to crochet. Very easy and very methodical, but very soothing, so you could just go back and forth, and it's lovely. It also is a great pattern to show off some really gorgeous yarn, which I did. I had from YanTanTethera Yarns, I think it's called the Mether yarn, Superwash Merino, so it's nice and soft, and it was a blue color called Dirtwater, which doesn't sound very pretty, but oh my gosh, it was beautiful. It's like the turquoisey blue, very, very soft blue with little bits of gray in it. I mean, it was just delightful. And this pattern really showed off the kind of the variegation kind of mottled look to it. This means mottled in sign language, I suppose. Anyway, and so it hooked up beautifully. I was really happy, and I decided to give it to a very dear friend of mine who it's just her color, and as I was making it, I had her in mind the whole time, and so I gave it to her and then realized I hadn't recorded a video about it. I'm probably going to make another one because it was lovely, and I keep saying lovely. The cool thing what Sarah's up to is that not only is she like designer extraordinaire, and she has a new book coming out soon, which I will review on here soon, called Super Size Crochet. She is queen of the ginormous crochet, but girl is also trying her hand at dyeing some yarn. So I have a little sample skein. She's still playing around with the colors and things, and she has some gorgeous bright colors. My friend Emma from Potter and Bloom has one of her bright colored variations, but she uses all natural dyes, Sarah does, which is really interesting and my cup of tea. So this one, she'd show me this one because she knows I love my neutrals and I love my pinks. So while I was loving the turquoises and yellows and everything, this just speaks to me. Look how pretty that is. The pinks and the taupe. And it's a lace weight. It is Superwash Merino, Silk, and Yak, which is why it feels so beautiful and soft and cushy. And it's lace weight, so it's nice and fine as well. 800 meters, good grief, I didn't realize that. That's huge. And it is dyed with walnut and, oh, I can't read that. Is it lye? I'll ask her and confirm. But they're all natural dyes, and I think that's really super. So yeah, I might try a parallel bars shawl in lace weight just to make it a little looser and see what happens. Sarah also has another beautiful shawl pattern out called the ombre shawl I might try with it. Oh, I don't know. Right now I'm just going to cuddle it and it'll make me feel better because I had an epic crochet fail. I'm so not wanting to tell you this, but if I save a soul, I will sacrifice my dignity. So, while I was away in Norway, Sandra from Cherry Heart and Sam from Betsy Makes started the Hotel of Bees Crochet-A-Long. It's a shawl pattern, gorgeous shawl pattern, the Hotel of Bees shawl by Christina Hadderingh. I have all the details in the show notes for all of the things I'm rambling about today. Anyway, it's a beautiful pattern, and they're doing a crochet along that everybody and their sister are joining along in. And while I was away, I thought, ooh, I'm going to start this. I can't wait to get home. And I got all the yarn ready. I have here, when I was at Yarndale last year, I got these 3 beautiful silky yarns, Fyberspates Scrumptious 4-ply. They have silk in them. I mean, they are cloud soft. And I thought, ooh, neutrals, a really soft gray, cream, like an off-white, and this beautiful kind of wheat color. I was going to use them for another project, but as I was hooking up that project, I wasn't happy with it. It wasn't working out. So I decided I'd frog that one. And I started the Hotel of Bees Crochet-A-Long. I was so keen that as soon as we got home, I think as I was unpacking, I started hooking. I was, all over it. Going along really well. I mean, look how pretty it is. And it's not even blocked, but it drapes so well. So that was the first section. There's supposed to be wings. Once it's blocked, those bits will do a little bit more of a V. And then you do like this, mushy bit. And then the bees, there are these little bees that you make that are little puffy stitches. Can you see that? See the little puff stitches are like the wings and there's the body. I mean, so that's good too. All going well. Even look at those hexies. Isn't that brilliant? And it goes in a triangle like that. What's the mathematical term for it? Isosceles? Oh, I don't know. I'm so not mathy. I'll ask my youngest, who's proving at age 7 to be a bit of a maths whiz, which leaves my husband and I flabbergasted because we both are rubbish at it. So I'll ask her when I get home what kind of triangle it is. She'll know. So it looks good, huh? I'm doing really well with it and I'm really enjoying it. And I was whipping along. But then I discovered a big problem. Oh, God. And it's one that I've even tried fudging it and thinking if I could just get past it, and just it's not resting well with my soul, and my conscience is pretty much decided we're going to have to frog back to nearly the beginning. I filmed what has happened. Are you ready for this? This is what made me first notice it. So this continues here, and this is the starting bit, and it goes that way. Oh my God. What? What? So yes, I should have known. I should have known when I saw this weird bit happening here. But I thought, well, maybe that'll go like that, you know, because it's such a soft and silky yarn. I thought it was just working up in a funny way and then that it would all kind of block out, you know, and honestly, it took me till I got to the end of that section. When it first started going straight, I thought it would kind of block out, you know, whatever. But then really, by the time I got there and I saw quite a straight line, I thought, something's gone wrong. But then the clincher was when I did the next round of the wingy bits. You kind of repeat what you do here. Oh, here at the beginning. You repeat it again similarly, just reverse the colors. Well, when I first did this, when I finished the section, these wing bits were on the reverse. And I thought, how could that be on the reverse side? And then I kind of looked at it and I realized, horror of all horrors, that somewhere I missed out a row or something. So because I'm, well, lazy, and I thought, okay, if there's ever a way to kind of fudge it to make it look okay, then I'm all for it, you know, because heaven forbid you spend all those hours doing it. You don't want to rip it all back if there's a way to fix it to be presentable. So I did when you kind of go down the front post, I did in the back. So that way, you know, instead of it being on this, going down in the front, I went down in the back, and I thought that way they're on the same side as the bottom ones. And I thought, all right, that'll work. But then, it would have, if it wasn't for this shape here, that it makes me so cross, I probably would have got away with it. But this annoys me, and it just won't stop annoying me. So I'm going to have to frog all this to probably around here to see where I went wrong properly. So, but before I do that, I'm getting a nice bottle of gin. Pinkster gin I enjoy lately. It's nice and pink, and I think the combination of gin and pink will soothe my soul. I'll also get some dark chocolate and raspberry chocolate bar. And then I will have an evening of frogging that bit. I'll probably have a friend over as well. Nikki, if you're watching this Friday night, that's what we're doing. You're going to hold my hand while I frog this and cry a little bit. Ooh, dummy. I'm such a dummy. But I'm telling you this so that the lesson is, no matter how good you are or think you are at crochet, always pause and count your stitches. Always pause and check where you are, and don't just whiz through it because you want to catch up with everyone else in the crowd. Donut. Anyway, that's the kind of week I'm having. I just am like clumsy. I'm fudging everything. I'm tripping on stuff. I'm breaking things. I cut my knuckle 2 days ago, and today when I was tidying up downstairs, I whacked it on the corner of the baby grand piano really hard. It's red. I mean, what? How stupid is that? So not only does the cut hurt, but now I've got a black, like it's going to turn black and blue on top of it. So last night I decided to console myself because I, couldn't do anything. So I started back up on my, the Mist Kingfisher shawl because I'm so nearly done with it. Remember, I'm calling this the Mist Cupcake because it's cupcake colors. Oh, look at that. It looks pretty on the screen. I like that. That'll make me feel better. So I started doing the next row of it, but honestly, I it's like I'm scared now. I mean, I'm afraid to hook anything because I'm going to mess it up. So I did a row, and then I just decided I'd better just go to bed. But that is going to be done very, very soon, and then I will be happy girl. The other thing I will say with when you make a big mistake and you have to frog something, I usually leave it a couple days, because if If it's just a little bit and you have to unravel it, that's fine. But if it's a giant couple sections that took you a long time to do like that, I just put it aside for a couple days because it hurts too bad. It hurts. But like all heartbreak, time heals, and it doesn't seem so bad a few days later. And like a heartbreak, if you have chocolate and some gin, it makes everything a little smoother as well. So I will fix it. I will. Here's your tip. Here's something I've been meaning to tell you about. A tip that came from my friend Nikki, and when at one of our crochet clubs a couple months ago. These, if you haven't seen these before, these are finishing needles. I'll put the details below, but what they are is when you have to weave in all the ends. This is the tiny one, but you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes. Glare. And they're fantastic. They're just plastic, and they have a giant gap, so that way you could get the yarn through really easily, and they're quite bendy. So if you have to weave in your ends, it's a lot simpler than trying to thread a needle, even a tapestry needle. It's a lot easier to thread them and just weave in and out because they're very flexible. And especially when you're working something lacy or you know, like a mandala or something like that, it can weave in quite easily in a lacy shawl or something. I would be using it for my Hotel of Bees shawl, but I'm not weaving in ends. I'm ripping it all apart. Get over yourself, woman. Anyway, I just got these on Amazon, so I'll put the details below so you can see them. They're just a handy thing to have, along with some tapestry needles. Let's leave that all behind us now and talk about what's in the hoop. Okay, I have a little stitchy blunder. Oh, I'm having quite a week. A little stitchy blunder, but this one's kind of funny. So I love my embroidery and I love stitching. I find it really relaxing, especially when all the crocheting is going badly and I'm all fingers and thumbs with that. Stitching is pretty easy. It's very forgiving. If you make a mistake, you usually see it immediately and you just have to either pull the stitch back or snip it out or something. It's never, at least in my experience, it's never as gutting as having to frog an entire section of crochet. So, but the one thing I'm rubbish at with stitching is badges or patches. This is my youngest Beaver's uniform. Beavers is like the Cub Scouts in America. It's like brownies, except for Beavers is, in our village at least, it's for both genders. And it's really fun, and my youngest loves it, and she's earning badges, and she's only been in about a year or so. But I find, and I've been like this even when my eldest was in Beavers, stitching on badges, it just kills me. It's so hard. I'm so rubbish at it. A, I never do it, and B, when I do, everything's crooked. Oh, it's embarrassing. So she goes, I mean, look, look at that. It's so awful. I didn't even, this was done in a jiffy, like, because I never remember to do it. And like 20 minutes before we go and she's putting on her Beavers uniform, she's like, Mom, where's my badges? So I have to like whip it together. So this is before Easter. She got her 1-year badge. And I couldn't even be bothered to find orange threads. So I used yellow, and look at that. Look how stupid. Ah! And it's crooked. Look. Oh God. And then last week, I was so naughty. I thought, and I didn't even have time to, because she got 2 just before Easter. So of course I had about 2 or 3 weeks to sew them on. And I didn't, my little overachiever. So she wanted these badges added on. And I got out the fabric glue, you know, the spray glue you use for quilting. Temporary adhesive. And I sprayed it on. I stuck them on. First off, why aren't these things iron-on? I mean, they could put a man on the moon. I say this every time. They could put a man on the moon, and they cannot make badges that just iron on themselves. This is ridiculous. And this is the 21st century. I mean, come on. Who has the time to stitch these things on? I should get a badge for stitching these things on. These are so hard and they hurt my thumb. I'm having quite a rant. And when I'm president, I'll make iron-on badges. So I tried the fabric glue, and when I went to pick her up from Beavers, the troop leader came out just with this grin on her face. She goes, "Christine, dear, Violet's little badge fell off. She's got it in her pocket. The other one's falling off." And she's looked at me as if like, you of all people, why are you the one who doesn't even sew the badges on? You stitch everything. I go in and help, and I, always offer to do things behind the scenes and craft this and stitch that. And I'm rambling on today. I'm rambling on about that. So today's job is, because she has beavers tonight, so of course I left it another week before, so I'm going to stitch these on properly. And I managed to find some orange thread. I dug it out. So I should, if I was any kind of seamstress and embroiderer, I would cut that out and do it again properly. It's just really. So, but it is a tip, worst case scenario, fabric glue it on with some spray, and at least get through 3/4 of the beaver meeting, and then you can sheepishly go home and stitch them the following week. But the good thing is that I've consoled myself with stitching more tutorials for our herb embroidery. So we are nearly done. Yesterday I put on about the chain stitch and the cross stitch. I know it looks wobbly, but that's because the fabric is wobbly in the frame. So I have to tug on it because it changes the weave when you tighten it. And then I'm going to be uploading the split stitch and the satin stitch. The split stitch was used for the stem of the echinacea and the satin stitch for the center of the echinacea. Then all I have left really for this sampler is these little background fronds. I put a bunch of background fronds in the fly stitch. That's a fantastic stitch. I'll be doing a tutorial for that. And then that's pretty much finished for that sampler. That gives you a nice bunch of stitches to learn. I'm actually teaching this at a workshop this weekend for the home and vintage gang. I've taught them the, last time was a couple months ago, the little love heart. It was so fun, and so a bunch of them are coming back, and we're going to do this one, which should be great. And then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with this once it's all finished. So all the tutorial links are on my channel. You can click on any of the links and learn some new stitches. Let me know what you think. The other thing I have that I've been working on for, well, I don't want to tell you, for a long time, is a quilt I was making for my eldest. And I decided to do some stitching on some of the blank spaces, because this was some of her favorite fabrics and favorite colors. And then because I like simple quilts and nothing too busy, I was trying to break up some of it with just some plain fabric. And then I realized I wanted to highlight some of those. And so every so often, oh, it's crooked now. Every so often I'll have, like here I have a bunny, because that's her nickname. She's my bunny. That is a Belle and Boo design. And then what else? Here is her initial. And then I decided to also do, she wants a harp on here too. The thing is, when you start doing things like this, if you show your child, they'll request things, which is fine, but a harp. So I have to stitch a harp because she plays the harp as well as the piano. I'm not stitching a piano. Anyway, that is my latest one, the treble clef, because she's quite musical, obviously. But what I did was I traced it, and then I decided, oh, I'm going to fill it in with flowers. And that sounded really good, except for then as I started this, I'm like, that's a big treble clef. So that's going to take me a little while, but I need to get on with it, don't I? Because I've been working on this off and on for a long time, and I just want to get it over with now. So I think I'm going to work on that a bit as well, because it's quite soothing And embroidery really doesn't take too much concentration when it's something like that. You could sit in front of the telly as long as you have a good light and you can see. Things like this are just little, you just kind of fill in as you go, and French knots and seed stitches. If I want to watch telly and watch a show, I just do all these little bits of easy things. And then the like the woven wheel roses, well, that might take a little bit more thought, so I'll do that when I have a little bit more concentration. But there's just so many different elements there. You can make it as easy or as hard as you'd like. So I think I'm going to fill in some of that, and yeah, that's pretty fail-safe. Although the week I'm having, I'm sure I'll find a way to mess it up. I think I've rambled on quite enough today. I think I will leave you to it to get on with your week. I hope you have a very productive and creative weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye. I'm feeling very sorry for myself.